Hi guys, Coach James here. Today I've got an interview that I did with one of my clients, Richard, one of my more long-time clients. He's also a financial advisor. So what we did is we talked about how the similarities between what he does in his practice and what I do when I'm coaching people, and the similarities were like quite profound. We also talked about his training history, what he's had done in the past, and why training with the way that I've got it set up for him and the way we've worked that out together is starting to provide the benefits that he was seeking for from the stuff that he didn't get from the stuff he was doing before. So this is part one. I'll split this interview into two parts. Any links or anything I'll put below. I hope you guys enjoy. Please like and subscribe, hit the little bell. That really will help me. This YouTube channel's in its infancy, but I'm really hoping to use this as a way to provide really good, high quality, free content that's interesting, and the stuff that gets more likes, that's more stuff I'll do of. Okay, cheers guys, this is part one, hope you enjoy. This is my first time doing this as well, so I'm probably just as bad at it as you. Right, so we're here to talk to Richard today. Richard's been a client of mine for nearly 2 years. My goodness, it was 2 years in January.
Yeah.
So. Right.
Just seems crazy.
Yeah, yeah. What we're going to do today is we're going to have a talk with Richard, talk about his journey, talk about what he's experienced before in terms of like training with personal trainers or going to the gym or the things he used to do, and contrast that with what he does now. And then also we're going to dive a bit into Richard's professional life, where he is a money guy. He's financial advisor? Yeah, financial advisor. And he certainly helped me start to think about things that I should have been thinking about probably a long time ago. I probably would have been in a much better place if I'd started thinking about them a long time ago.
But too late to start.
Yeah, it's never too late to start. Well, that's like, here we go into the same thing applies to the gym. So, and that will be like the second part. So first part, we'll talk about Richard, his journey. Second part, the more I thought about it, and the more I got to know what you do, how you think about things in terms of planning for the future. There were so many parallels with that and what my job and I do in planning for the future of my clients, and them being in their 60s and in their 70s and not being broken down. The parallels between that and financial management were scarily similar.
And interestingly enough, I was having a lunch with an old colleague of mine tonight. He was telling me a story, and basically one of his friends is not doing too well, and the money, it doesn't matter if you've got 100 grand in the bank extra, your health is the most important thing. Because without your health,
you don't have the ability to enjoy the money you've spent your whole life working, saving for. So, right, let's talk about you first. So, what had you first got in touch with me during lockdown? Now, do you remember this?
Yes.
And we had a brief conversation.
I think was that actually here?
No, that was we did a video call, didn't we? Because I was still coaching.
Oh yeah.
I was still coaching your friend Sandy at the time, and
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. Like that. This is like probably about a year before you actually start. Maybe even a year and a half before you actually started training with me.
I think it was in summer or spring of 2020.
Yeah. And I think you were. Your thoughts were, it's lockdown, I've got all this spare time. I think Sandy had recommended me to you. Hi, Sandy. And you were like, okay, but it didn't work out at that point. I think like we were like, there wasn't a close enough.
I didn't have the discipline, to be fair, and I hadn't. I think a lot of people suffer from is they're quite happy to let themselves down, but don't let other people down. And if you're just kind of doing it yourself, you're like, oh, I'll just skip it. I think that's what I fell into. But then when I started coming, I was like, oh my god, this is actually really fun.
And then when you thought, right, I need to start taking this stuff seriously now, let's contact James. Walk me through what that process, from your side of that thing, walk me through what that process was.
Well, I remember contacting you because I was interested in seeing you. Obviously, restrictions had lifted; we could come to the gym. Thank Christ. And we said, well, come and have a chat here. I basically explained that I wanted to lose some weight and get a bit stronger. I didn't have any structure. I mean, and that's exactly what I needed. And what was interesting for me was, I mean, I've been going to the gym since I was like 17, but just doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And kind of looking back on it, I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. There's no such thing as a warm up.
Yeah.
But just looking to what we do now is just lunacy. It's amazing I don't have any injuries.
Yeah.
Benefit of youth. And obviously we came here, and then I remember I'd just done 100 kilograms on the bench, and I was so pleased with myself. And you're like, hell with that, we're going to get you back down to 60. And I was like, this is rubbish, but technique. And then we just slowly built things up, and I got more used to doing, what we focus on: squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, which are the most 4 key things to what we do. And it's been a hell of a journey.
If you could go back and talk to your 17, 18-year-old self and tell them say one or two things, what would you tell them? What do you think you could say?
Don't worry, it's all going to work out okay. I would definitely say get a coach. I wish to hell that if I could go back in time. To be fair, this wasn't even on my radar at 17. But I think it's more of a thing now. But I wish I'd taken it more seriously, because from what I've done in the last 2 years, so I would have been 30, broadly speaking, when I joined. I'm 32 now. If I'd have done that at 17, I would be so much further ahead, because I'd had the benefit of youth. And especially training, and you see videos on YouTube and or Instagram or whatever, and there's these 18, 17-year-olds that are doing crazy numbers. And a lot of them are all natural as well. I wish I could go back in time and just have structure, because...
Do you think 17-year-old Richard would have listened to you?
I'd make him listen to me.
I'm from the future.
I know. I'm big, you're small. But no, I wish I could have gone back in time and done that, because, looking back at my gym career today, it was just more of a social thing, and going trying to lift some heavy weights, just doing what you see other people doing. And there's I'll do, let's just say, for example, 60 kilograms this week, I'll try 70 next week, whereas you wouldn't think of doing that.
Well, that's an interesting point. That is that
there's no structure.
Well, there's no structure, but there's still that grain of truth, whereas even when you didn't really know what you were doing, you still knew that you wanted to add weight to the bar.
Yeah, for sure.
You still knew that was the goal.
Yeah.
As much as that when you're 17 or 18, it might just be fueled by ego. You maybe didn't realise that that is how you get stronger. You ask your body to adapt to you adding weight to the bar. So it's it's almost programmed in us internally to want to get onto the next thing. But that's all good stuff to say to 17 or 18-year-olds, but I would say most 17 or 18-year-olds are not going to be able to afford personal trainers.
That is true,
But what you are when you're 17 or 18, you might be cash poor, but you're time rich.
Yeah, in a lot of YouTube videos and stuff.
YouTube. There's so many books out there. There's loads of good stuff. I want to put together a reading list for my website. If I get this done at any point, I'll put it on the bottom of this video on YouTube, of things that I think a 17 to 24-year-old should be reading to inform themselves, so that if they don't manage to figure it all out for themselves, at least they're going to have a general base of knowing where to look for the right things, so that you're not coming to a coach. So say you come to me, and even if you just bought one session off me, you would be able to, the value of that session would be so much more, because you'd
have so much more direction, and you would know that this is the game of strength training is delayed gratification. And if there's one thing I've learned during my time with you is, and you'll know this yourself, consistency. There's no point in half-arsing it. You need to show up every day, and you need to stay consistent with training in order to get beyond your goal, your objective. I remember, obviously, I noticed you'll remember this. I was struggling to get past 60 kilograms overhead press, and the reason I was struggling to get past was I was going out partying at weekends and just not paying attention to the program, and then suddenly, as if by magic, I was more consistent. You know, and now I don't think twice about obviously.
Yeah, and you're repping out 60 on your volume days for overhead press. So yeah, I mean that was a big like
that was a penny drop moment for me.
Yeah, I think consistency is the base of it all. It doesn't like you can write someone the best program in the world. They can have the best technique in the world. They can be doing the optimal exercises, but that doesn't matter if they're only going to the gym once a week. Now,
there's no point.
Once a week is better than no times a week. So there is a point where, and you experience that, where there is this minimum threshold that you have to meet before you start to see the progress that you get. But yeah, that's all good stuff. And
you don't go to the gym once to get fit. It's discipline more than motivation, because discipline, you just whether you like to go or not. I mean, there's been plenty of times I've not been bothered to come, but I've done it anyway. And actually, every time, the times where I've not been one to come the most is the times I've enjoyed coming, because a lot of times I'm in a foul mood from I don't know, work or something like that, and you leave and you've done a heavy lift. You think, I'm so glad I did that, because your body's full of endorphins. And
it's a social, and it is a social thing as well, and that's why I like doing the small group sessions, because it's people that you would never meet. You would never meet Julie. You probably would never meet Alan. You'd probably never meet Christina. These people who are so disparate fields of life that and living in different areas, you would never come across them, and you get to make friends with these people.
That's one of the things I always say to people when I tell people about what I do is, because a lot of people go to the gym, they go themselves and think, oh, I can't bother going tonight. It's like, I actually kind of look forward to the social aspect, because for me, it's all the benefits of one-to-one PT. And when you're not watching me, I'm talking to Gillian or Ewan or whoever and having a great time and catching up. And then when it's my turn again, you say, "Get off your phone, Richard."
You're not getting your phone until you've done one work set. It's like that was as I said that to you the other night.
And
you can have your phone back when you've done your first work set of squats, and you can have your phone back.
And it's just such a social thing, and it's great crack. And before I've even lifted, I'm instantly in a better mood, because I'm talking to people at the gym. Hi, how are you? How was your day?
And it's you build a little community, and people,
that's true.
And like you get to ask, like Gillian's been a nurse for 30 odd years. She's got a wealth of knowledge that I even ask her from. Like Khaled's a doctor. You get to ask him. Like you get experiences and exposure to people in different fields. Like if you didn't come here, you'd only ever talk to your clients, your parents, and your colleagues. You know what I mean? Like you that fourth box of coming here and being in a room with people you wouldn't normally be with is a hugely enriching experience. I'm just thinking while I'm talking here, to be honest. Right. So like in your experience,
what it's been like before.
Like what do I do differently with you that previous, maybe because you've had personal trainers before?
I've had a handful before, and obviously no disrespect to them. I think the major difference for me, and I think this is the thing that I said to Sandy, who was the person that you introduced me to, was for me, like, your knowledge of what you're talking about is like a catalogue. It's bananas. It's so diverse. And the thing for me is, what fascinates me is, if I'm doing a squat, you'll be say like hips or middle of your foot or bum up or whatever. You can look at me and you know exactly what the crack is, and then like magic, it goes a bit better. And for me, the programming to get where you want to be. So obviously, when we started, we were like 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. The increment, obviously that plateaus after a while. Otherwise, everyone would be lifting tons. And then you need to kind of take a step back, attack it from a different angle. Now, I just wouldn't know that. And if I'm honest, I probably wouldn't be bothered reading about that myself. So that's the benefit of the coach.
That's another thing. When people get to your age, you're now the opposite of what you were in 17. You're now time poor and not hugely cash rich, but like retired, So like you have more disposable income, so you can effectively, like, sometimes I try and say to like my job is kind of like almost like a mechanic.
Yeah.
You could learn to fix your own car.
Yeah.
Like, but is it worth?
Yeah.
Is it worth the time? And obviously, you're not having to fix your car 3 times a week for an hour.
Similar to with financial advice. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff yourself, but if you want someone to just take care of it for you.
And that segue takes us neatly into what we'll do in part 2. I'll split this into 2, and we'll talk about how training and financial advice kind of line up quite well.
Yeah. I think getting back to what I was saying earlier about the difference between before and PTs I had before, it was just, use the phrase generic, maybe that's unfair, but it was just like, here's a sort of program and do this at high reps.
Would cookie cutter?
Yeah, a wee bit cookie cutter. And whereas like this is a lot more fun. That's the thing actually. It's fun. It's genuinely good fun to come up and pitch up, and you make it interesting. And although we typically focus on about 4 exercises, they're good exercises, and you feel great after doing them. And it's not, it's just not boring. And it's another thing as well. The equipment in the gym is good as well, and there's no real issue with getting on equipment as well.
I know the gym. Like we're in OBS in Clydebank, so it's a powerlifting gym. So there's plenty of kit in here. I'm always
not short of dumbbells.
Not short of dumbbells. I mean, well, that's a relatively modest dumbbell rack compared to but there's only ever a couple of people using the dumbbells. But I'm always putting a case to Andy, the gym owner, about getting more racks and getting more, because it's, as much as it's good for my business and allows me to coach more people at once, it's good for the gym as well.
Well, fortunately, we've had the 2 new black ones, which are pretty damn good. They've been quite good for, I think, training the overhead press, because to be strict above the head.
You did mention that, and that is something that I mean, we'll not get too much into the technical parts of lifting, but so you go to and I'm sure there's probably maybe people watching this they've had a personal trainer before, they've not had a good experience, or they maybe didn't. A good experience a bad experience with a personal trainer can come in lots of different fashions. The most common one I see is the personal trainer who basically beats their clients up to get the goal their client thinks they want. Because the personal trainer or the coach doesn't have the ability to articulate and argue. Actually, I mean, and your goals are like, a client's goals are important, but you don't know how to get there. Otherwise, you wouldn't be hiring me. So that's the point. And for a lot of people, it's endless amounts of cardio, calorie restriction, high reps.
Which is the great thing about this training, you don't need to restrict your calories.
Well, like, how many people, I think of probably the 80 or 90 like in-person clients I've had through my career, and I've had them for many years. There's maybe been like less than a handful where I've said, right, we need to restrict calories. We need to actually watch what you're eating, and even that isn't like for a guy, restricting calories might be 2,800 calories a day. For a girl, it might be 1,900, 2,000 calories a day. That's still not an 800 pound like cabbage soup diet. Do you know what I mean? Which will just make you fart. I mean, you will lose weight on that, but you'll just be you won't be a pleasure to hang around with. But so like,
can I add another thing? To get back, I was just thinking about what you were saying earlier when you were talking about what's different before. I've not lost interest in this, whereas I've lost interest, and I can't articulate why that is, but I found other things in the past just like, it's very samey, whereas this is interesting. There's the stuff we do. Obviously, we do the same stuff most of the time, but there's accessory work as well, and you're hitting it from different angles. Like, you're doing different reps, different sets, and then obviously you've got the exciting things like we're going to do a 1 rep max today, which is obviously very exciting to do if you get it.
Yeah.
But it's just that's one of the things I've enjoyed. It's not just mundane. It's always been interesting. It's always been exciting, and I've just stuck with it. And I've never stuck with PTs for a huge amount of time. I've certainly never stuck with any PT longer than, I'd say, 4 months. So and here we are 2 years later. So
well, that's a typical, that kind of 3 to 4 month period. Really, like if you're completely unconditioned and completely untrained and you've not done anything for 2 years and you go back and you see a personal trainer, the first 3 or 4 months is easy because you can pretty much do anything in that first 3 months and you'll see results of it. You will get stronger.
Not hard to improve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then that becomes that when the curve starts to flatten out a little bit, that's where the special sauce comes in and the experience. And because like most personal trainers, they don't know what they don't know. It's not their fault. And a part way it is their fault because they don't educate themselves. But another aspect is they do their personal training course and they think that's all they need to know to become a good personal trainer. That is completely wrong. Your personal training course that we do in the UK is like so you can do it in 6 weeks if you do it every weekend. It's like a forklift ticket. Do you know what I mean? It's there to make sure that
kill someone.
You don't kill someone. Exactly. Yeah, that's good to go. Oh, you've had a heart attack in the last 6 months. Okay, it's probably not a good idea that we train without your doctor saying without your doctor saying it's okay, stuff like that. So, but it doesn't give you any of the knowledge and the skills that is required to actually get very good results. Now, some people can pick that up very quickly.
Yeah, I think what I'd say as well is, I must caveat, it's no disrespect to PTs, but I think a lot of the PTs out there, I see this a lot on Instagram PTs. I think the more marketing guys than PTs, take from that what you will, but whereas it's like, this is really nuts and bolts stuff. And we're coming here to lift, we do lift, we get stronger. And the thing I like about it is, I'll be like, why am I doing this, James? To help this. So it's like, why am I doing block pulls to supplement your deadlift? Okay, that makes sense. And why am I doing 7 reps of this? Oh, it's to get your 1 rep max or whatever it is. It's like, and there's always a reason. Usually at great lengths. You're very verbose.
I try not to be. But it's if I can't explain to you why I'm doing something,
that's no way.
Perhaps I shouldn't be doing it. If it's just like, if you turn around and you say, James, why am I doing this? And I say, just do it. That is a failure 100% on my part. If I cannot explain to you, and I've said this to you, I've probably said this to you, or you may have seen me say it to other clients. When they ask me a question I don't know, I'm going to be like, no, actually, I need to brush up on that. I'll tell you. I'll come back to me next time, and I'll make an Instagram post about it or something. So,
fairness, you've never done that with me.
Well, like you're still. I mean, you're like incredibly strong guy. I mean, today you're going to pull 185 kilos for 5 reps. So like, that's strong. I mean, I think that'll be most you've ever done for 5 reps.
So I think that was my 1 rep max this time last year, so it's moving quite well.
I remember, Andy was talking about that, and he said you pulled 180 like this time, like November last year, and then a couple of weeks ago you pulled 180 for 5. Now there's been a whole year in between that, and there's been periods of inconsistency, periods of like I mean, you tweaked your elbow, you tweaked like all that kind of stuff. So these things happen. That's just life. But
much like the stock market, there are dips, but as long as it trends upwards.
And that's a good thing about training and keeping the training log like we do. I can go back and see all your PRs, and I can see the line, and I can see that the line is going in a seesaw fashion, and it's going upwards. But
Right, guys, that's the end of part 1 of my interview with Richard. I hope you found that very useful. If you did, leave a like and a comment. Tell me what you found useful. If you're looking for financial advice, you can go and speak to Richard as well. His link for his page will be down below. You can contact him on there if you're seeking some advice. Please like and subscribe and hit that little bell so that when part 2 goes up, you'll be notified. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you later.